All right, so welcome to another deep dive with us. Today, we're going to be looking at this idea of an abundance mindset, and we're going to be using this YouTube video from Awaken Your Potential as our guide. Have you seen this one?
Oh yeah, it's really something. It's definitely high energy, very motivational,
Yeah.
lots of kind of inspiring visuals and music and all that.
Yeah. It's really all about um, helping people unlock their potential. But I think what we're really interested in exploring today is uh, can simply changing your mindset actually, change how you see the world? Can it turn like scarcity into opportunity?
Hmm. Well, I think that's kind of the heart of this whole scarcity versus abundance thing, right? It's like, where do you choose to put your energy? And the video, it uses this really cool analogy of mountain climbing. Are you just fixated on like the rough path and how tired you are, or are you looking ahead to that view from the top?
Right, right. I mean, I think we've all felt that pull between focusing on like the obstacles and the potential reward. But what does it actually mean to have an abundance mindset? I mean, is it just like wishful thinking?
Well, that's a common misconception, and thankfully the video actually addresses that. It says, an abundance mindset. It's not about ignoring the challenges,
Yeah.
right? It's actually quite the opposite. It's understanding that even in those difficulties, there's opportunity there. It's this belief that there are enough resources and opportunities for everyone to succeed.
Interesting.
Like they give this great example of entrepreneurs who thrive during economic downturns. Everyone else is seeing crisis, but they're seeing like this chance to innovate and adapt and come out stronger.
So it's about seeing potential where others might just see roadblocks. I mean, I can
Yeah.
see how this could apply to so many areas of life,
Yeah.
your career, relationships, you name it. But is there any science to back this up, or is this just like a feel-good philosophy?
Actually, there's a lot of research that supports this idea that an abundance mindset can have like real measurable effects.
Okay.
The video, it touches on this a bit, but I can maybe unpack it a little more. Like studies have shown that gratitude, positive thinking, these things aren't just, nice feelings. They actually change the structure of your brain.
Wow.
Like there was this study published in the Journal of Positive Psychology. They found that practicing gratitude for just 2 weeks, it significantly increased like happiness and life satisfaction.
Mhm.
And I mean, it makes sense when you think about it, right? Gratitude helps you focus on what you have, not what you lack. And that shift can lead to more creativity, more resilience, even better decision making.
Yeah. It's like you're updating your mental software, right?
Yeah.
Making it more opportunity oriented. I remember the video also mentioning Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill.
Oh, yeah. A classic.
And that book really, really emphasizes that your thoughts shape your reality. Like you had that famous quote, your dominant thoughts define your outcomes. So, I mean, what does that say about our potential, right? Are
Hmm.
we filling our minds with limitations or with possibility?
That's the question, isn't it? And it's not just about like thinking positive thoughts. It's about understanding how powerful our beliefs are, Because if we believe that we're limited, we're going to act in ways that confirm that belief. But if we believe in our ability to create abundance, we'll start to see those opportunities even when other people don't.
I see what you're saying. And the video does a nice job of uh, debunking some of these limiting beliefs that hold us back. Like, for instance, that you need to have a lot of resources to even start thinking abundantly.
Oh, yeah, totally. And that's just not true, right? Abundance, it begins with your mindset, not your bank account. It's about shifting your focus from what you lack to what you have, even if it's something small. Like they suggest starting a gratitude journal to cultivate that shift.
Okay, let's unpack that a little bit. This gratitude journal idea. It sounds like a good habit, but like how does it actually work?
Well, so the act of writing things down that you're thankful for and thinking about why they matter, it actually triggers the release of dopamine. And that's a
Mhm.
neurotransmitter associated with like pleasure and reward.
Oh, interesting.
So it's like it reinforces those neural pathways that are primed to see and appreciate abundance. It's like a positive feedback loop, right? The more you practice gratitude, the more your brain is tuned to those opportunities.
So it's not just about feeling good in the moment. It's actually training your brain to see the world through like a more abundant lens. I get that.
Yeah.
But how does focusing on the present moment fit into all this?
Right. Well, the video makes the point that when we savor those small joys and really be present, we're already tapping into the abundance around us.
Yeah, yeah. It's like hitting pause on all that mental chatter and just appreciating what's right there in front of you.
Exactly. And, you know, this could be something as simple as like taking a moment to really enjoy that first cup of coffee in the morning or noticing a beautiful sunset. Those little moments, they can be really powerful in shifting our perspective.
It's about retraining our attention to see the abundance that's already there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm starting to see how all these pieces fit together. But what about those really ingrained beliefs? The ones that hold us back, how do we address those?
Well, the video has some really practical advice for that too. They suggest taking those limiting beliefs and reframing them as empowering questions.
Okay, how would that work? Can you give me an example?
Yeah, sure. Like let's say you have the thought, I can't afford this.
Right.
Instead of accepting that as fact, you turn it into a question. How can I afford this? And that little shift, it changes your whole approach. You go from focusing on the lack to inviting your brain to explore the possibilities and solutions.
So you're turning a dead end into an open question that sparks like creativity and resourcefulness.
Yeah.
I like that. But there's one thing I'm still kind of curious about. The video talks about celebrating other people's successes. How does that fit into, cultivating abundance?
That's a key point because when we celebrate other successes without comparing ourselves, we're reinforcing this belief that there's enough abundance to go around. Someone else's win doesn't, diminish our own potential. It can actually inspire us and open up new possibilities. They actually use a really beautiful analogy in the video to illustrate this. They compare it to like flowers in a garden.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Tell me about this garden analogy.
So, one flower's beauty, it doesn't take away from the others, right? The garden is more stunning because of all those different flowers blooming together. And it's the same with success. When we can celebrate others' achievements without feeling threatened, we create this supportive and abundant environment for everyone.
So instead of viewing success as this limited resource, we can see it as something that expands and multiplies when we share it.
Right. And that collective sense of possibility, that's really at the heart of the abundance mindset. It's not just about individual gain. It's about recognizing that we're all connected and our collective success depends on us supporting each other and celebrating each other's growth.
This is starting to make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
It's not just about positive thinking. It's about shifting our whole perspective on how we see the world and our place in it. But, I mean, it can't just be about feeling good, right?
Yeah.
At some point, we have to take action.
Oh, absolutely. And the video makes that very clear. Cultivating an abundance mindset, it requires action.
So how do we bridge that gap
hmm
between mindset and action? What does that look like?
Well, they suggest that we identify like one skill or habit that if we mastered it could really transform our lives over the next 6 months. And then the key is to start taking concrete steps towards mastering that skill or habit.
So thinking big, but acting incrementally.
Yeah. It doesn't have to be this massive leap. Even a small step today, can build momentum towards lasting change.
Mhm.
It's about consistently choosing to act in alignment with that abundant mindset instead of letting fear or scarcity hold us back.
This has been really eye-opening so far. We've talked about the the core ideas of an abundance mindset. We've looked at the research, seen some practical examples, but I want to hear from you, the listener. What's resonating with you so far? What stands out as particularly relevant to your own life? Take a moment to think about that before we jump into part two of this deep dive. So welcome back. I hope you had a chance to think about what we've talked about so far in our deep dive on this whole abundance mindset thing. It occurs to me that a lot of the ideas in this video they kind of connect with stuff we've seen in other books we've covered.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, there's a lot of overlap with Stephen Covey's Seven Habits. Particularly the emphasis on synergy. Remember how he talks about how the whole is greater than the sum of its parts?
Yeah, for sure. That's a big takeaway from that book. But how does that relate to abundance exactly?
Well, Covey's argument is that, when we approach challenges with that abundance mindset, focusing on collaboration and win-win solutions, we end up creating more opportunities, not just for ourselves, but for everyone involved, right? It's about understanding that interconnectedness and how one person's success doesn't have to, come at the expense of someone else's.
So it's like we're all part of this system, and when one part of the system is doing well, it benefits everyone. I mean, I could even see how this could apply to like global economics. Like if we shifted away from this scarcity mindset, where resources are seen as finite and everyone's competing, maybe we could create systems that are more sustainable and equitable.
Yeah, I think you're onto something there. It's the idea that abundance breeds more abundance,
Yeah.
When we're focused on collaboration and shared success, it creates this ripple effect, benefits everybody.
That's a really powerful thought. And it kind of goes back to what we were saying earlier about celebrating other people's successes, right? When we can genuinely appreciate someone else's wins, we're not just reinforcing their success, we're also expanding our own sense of what's possible.
Exactly. And that shift in perspective, it can be really liberating, right? Instead of feeling threatened by someone else's achievements, we can be inspired by them. We can see it as proof that our own dreams are achievable too.
Yeah. It's like shifting from a fixed mindset to a growth mindset, right? Where we understand that there's enough success to go around and everyone has the potential to do great things.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. And that shift from fixed to growth, that's essential for cultivating abundance in all areas of life.
So where do we even begin with this whole abundance mindset thing?
Well, the video offers some really good practical advice, and it starts with that simple act of gratitude. Remember that gratitude journal we talked
Mm.
about?
Yeah, yeah. Just writing down a few things you're thankful for, it seemed almost too simple to be effective.
I know, right? But the research is pretty clear on this. Practicing gratitude consistently, it can have a huge impact on our brains and how we see the world.
So it's not just about feeling good in the moment. It's about rewiring our brains to be more tuned into the positive.
Right, and it goes beyond just feeling happier too.
Hmm.
Gratitude can help us build resilience, improve our relationships, even boost our physical health.
Wow, that's amazing. I'm starting to see gratitude in a whole new light here. It's not just a nice thing to do. It's like it's a tool for personal transformation.
Absolutely, and it's something that anyone can incorporate into their daily routine. It takes a few minutes,
Hmm.
right? Just jot down three things you're grateful for, but but over time, that cumulative effect, it can be really powerful.
So we talked about gratitude. What about that other element that the video highlighted? The focusing on the present moment.
Yeah.
How do we actually put that into practice in our busy lives?
Yeah, that's a great question, and it's something that we could probably all get better at. One technique that's pretty simple is setting aside a few minutes each day for mindfulness, like just sitting quietly, focusing on your breath, or taking a walk in nature, really paying attention to your surroundings.
That sounds so peaceful.
So,
But I have to admit, my mind tends to like race, with to-do lists and worries and all that. Is it is it even possible to quiet those thoughts and really be present?
oh, it definitely takes practice, but the more we do it, the easier it gets. And even if we can only manage a few moments of stillness each day, those moments can have a big impact on our overall well-being. The key is to be patient with ourselves and to approach mindfulness as a journey, not a destination.
It's about cultivating awareness of the present moment, not striving for some kind of like perfect stillness.
Exactly. And as we practice being more present, we naturally become more aware of the abundance that already exists in our lives, right? We start to notice the beauty in the everyday things, the warmth of the sun, the laughter of loved ones, the simple pleasure of a good meal.
Yeah, yeah, we're basically retraining our attention to focus on what we have, not what we lack.
Yeah.
And that change in perspective, that can be really empowering. It kind of reminds me of what we were talking about before with reframing those limiting beliefs.
Oh yeah, that's another crucial piece of this whole abundance puzzle. Remember how the video encouraged us to turn those limiting beliefs into empowering
Oh
questions?
yeah, that was brilliant. Like
Hmm.
changing I can't afford this to how can I afford this?
Exactly. It's about challenging those negative thoughts and reframing them in a way that opens us up to possibilities. Instead of just accepting limitations, we're inviting our brains to get creative, to explore options, to find solutions that we might not have seen before.
We're giving ourselves permission to think outside the box, to believe in our own resourcefulness. I love that.
Mhm.
But how do we actually identify and transform those deeply ingrained negative thought patterns?
That's where self-awareness comes in. The first step is just paying attention to your self-talk. Notice the things you're saying to yourself throughout the day, especially when you're facing a challenge or feeling stressed. Are you using language that's limiting or empowering? Are you focused on what's wrong or what's possible?
That's a really good point. We often don't even realize how much our self-talk is influencing our beliefs and our actions. It's like we have this inner critic that's constantly feeding us negativity.
Exactly. And the good news is that we have the power to change that inner dialogue. Once we become aware of those negative patterns, we can start to challenge them, right? Ask yourself, is this belief actually true, or is this just a story I've been telling myself? Is this helping me, or is it holding me back?
Yeah. It's like taking those negative thoughts to court and demanding evidence. And then once we've challenged those beliefs, we can start to replace them with more positive ones.
Exactly. And that's where affirmations come in. Affirmations are those positive statements that we repeat to ourselves, either out loud or silently, to kind of reprogram our subconscious minds and create new neural pathways.
So instead of saying things like I'm not good enough or I'll never be able to do this, we can start saying things like I'm capable or I am attracting abundance into my life.
Right. And the key is to choose affirmations that resonate with you, personally, and to repeat them regularly with feeling, with conviction, and
Right.
and over time those positive affirmations, they'll start to replace that negative self-talk.
This is all fascinating. It's like we're really digging into how the mind works and how we can, consciously create the reality that we want. But before we get too carried away with the power of thought, I want to circle back to something we talked about earlier about celebrating other people's successes.
Yeah.
Why is that so important for cultivating an abundance mindset?
Well, when we celebrate other successes, we're shifting our focus from competition to collaboration. Instead of seeing other people as threats, we start to see them as allies, as sources of inspiration, as support.
That's a huge difference. In a scarcity mindset, it's like we see the world as this zero-sum game,
Yeah.
Someone else's win is automatically our loss. But with an abundance mindset, we understand that there's enough to go around.
Exactly. And when we can genuinely celebrate someone else's accomplishments, without feeling envious or threatened, we create this much more positive and supportive environment for everyone.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like we're all on the same team, right? Rooting for each other's success.
Right.
And when one person wins, we all win.
It's a beautiful way to think about it, and it ties back to that garden analogy we were talking about before. The beauty of one flower, it doesn't take away from the beauty of the others. In fact, the whole garden is more beautiful because of that variety, that vibrancy of all those different flowers.
I love that analogy. It's
Right.
it's a reminder that we're all interconnected and our collective success depends on us supporting each other's growth.
Exactly. And that's really the heart of an abundance mindset, recognizing that we're all in this together and there's enough for everyone.
It's not just about getting more for ourselves. It's about creating a world where everyone has the opportunity to thrive
Yeah.
and to reach their full potential.
Absolutely. And it all starts with that internal shift, that conscious choice to focus on what's possible rather than what's lacking.
This has been such a rich and thought-provoking conversation. We've explored these principles of an abundance mindset, the science behind it, and some practical tools for cultivating this way of thinking. But as we head into the final part of our deep dive, I want you to think about this question. What's one area of your life where you feel that pull of scarcity? Where do you find yourself focusing on limitations rather than possibilities? Keep that question in mind as we wrap up our exploration. Welcome back to our deep dive. I hope you had a chance to think about those areas where you might be clinging to that scarcity mindset, like we were talking about at the end of the last part.
It's easy to slip into those patterns.
Yeah, oh yeah,
But, like that video reminded us, we always have that choice.
we do. We have that power to choose a different way of looking at things.
And it's almost like, we're planting these seeds of possibility in our minds, right? And then we're nurturing them with gratitude and mindfulness and that belief in our own potential.
Yeah, I like that. It's a process, right? Cultivating that abundance mindset. It's not a one-time fix. It's a a way of life,
Yeah.
something you got to keep working at.
Yeah, for sure. It's a practice. There are no, overnight transformations when it comes to mindset. But the cool thing is that even small actions, if you do them consistently, they can have this ripple effect, not just in our own lives, but in the lives of people around us.
That's a nice thought, that pay it forward idea, but for your mindset. The
Yeah.
more we cultivate abundance in ourselves, the more we spread it outwards, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And it creates a better world for everybody.
Exactly. And it all comes back to that internal shift, that choice to choose, abundance over scarcity, possibility over limitation.
And the video, it didn't just give us these feel-good concepts, right? It gave us actual tools to help us make that shift. And I think that's what makes this deep dive so interesting. It's not just about, learning new stuff. It's about giving ourselves the power to actually change things.
Oh yeah, totally. It's about taking it from theory to practice, from understanding it to actually living it.
So as we wrap up here, I'll leave you with a challenge. What's one area of your life where you're ready to really embrace this abundance mindset? Is it your finances, your relationships, your career, your health? Where do you feel like you could really plant those seeds and see them grow?
And once you've picked that area, ask yourself, what's one tiny step I can take today to shift my perspective from that scarcity to opportunity? Maybe it's, starting that gratitude journal or reframing a limiting belief or even just taking a moment to really see the abundance that's already there.
You know what they say, right? The journey of 1,000 miles. It starts with a single step. And even the smallest action, if you do it with intention, it can have, this ripple effect way beyond just ourselves.
We've covered a lot in this deep dive, haven't we? The principles, the science, the tools, but in the end it's up to each of us to take what we've learned and actually use it, make it part of our lives.
So to close things out, I just want to say, you have that power. You have the power to choose abundance. You have the power to create a life that is rich and fulfilling and full of joy. Don't underestimate what your mind can do, to shape your reality.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. Until next time, stay curious and stay open to all the possibilities out there.